for Mahatma Gandhi was actually built by himself. He used to actually create a lot of problems for the Britishers, and they used to send him to jail. So that is the reason he got 14 years in jail in consecutive lots. So this is now I run Innovate. I have one of my investors sitting right here. We are launching in Koramangala in Bangalore on January 1. So yes, and now we are a Y Combinator company. And now the next 6 points apart from the time chunk, these 6 points are inspired by what I learned from Y Combinator directly from Sam Altman and Michael C. The second one, what happens is that I sold my first company in 2013. After that, I've invested in close to 30 companies. And once you do all these things, you speak at a lot of platforms. You have this thing. Indians specifically have this thing कि नहीं यार सारा सब कुछ आता है. कोई problem नहीं है. कोई startup ले आओ सब कुछ कर लेंगे. But when you go to Y Combinator, you actually feel naked. You feel that not only you, there are 125 crore people back in your country who do not know anything about startups. So startups are a very different sort of a place. So the first thing which I learned was the glass is never half empty or full. It's always empty. Even from a beggar, you can learn something or the other. Cherish those conversations and make sure that from every human being you learn something or the other. A lot of people say 5 P's, 6 P's, 8 P's. There's a new theory in 12 P's. But finally, in startups, you have 3 P's. The first one being product, the second one being process, and the third one being people. These are the 3 P's to make a successful startup. The third learning which I learned from YC was, what are you making? A lot of people in India, they do not know what are they making. They will ask, they will do that. So we keep on meeting a lot of these entrepreneurs. So they ask these things. So I ask them, okay, what are you making? So they say that we are making an IoT device. And so what? They say that's an IoT device, and I don't know, what is the value proposition? What are you making is the most important thing. People are not clear about their objectives, about what is their product. And the best Venn diagram for that is this one. Have a combination of what I do well, something which I know so well, what I want to do, my passion area, and what do people pay for. If these 3 things intersect, this is how unicorns are born. So while being there in San Francisco for 3 months, I met a couple of people. So there's this white guy, very intelligent. So I believe white people are very intelligent. So he came up to me and he told a very interesting story. And he told that I have an agriculture startup. We are having drones by which we can increase the output of farmers of any economy. They are doing very well in India. Now we want to launch. They are doing very well in America. Now we want to launch in India. And I told that, yeah, sure. So he told that, how's the market? I told him it's a great market. You should enter. So he told that, what is the price point I should look at? He told that, what is usually what we charge? He told that we can go 50% on what we are currently charging. That is $22,000. I don't know, are you mad? See the economy. See the place where you are going to launch a product. No one in our country where farmers barely make a living, how will they afford a drone? So the whole idea is you have to make sure that your product and market actually fit. The fourth thing, which is very interesting, is do not copy. This happens with a startup called TinyOut. Not to say anything bad about Tanuj and those guys, but the thing was, I still remember there was a startup called DoorDash. This was a YC company. And seeing that startup, they started the same thing in India called TinyOut. Now what happens when you copy is that you do not understand, but Indians have time. United States population does not have time. You will never find America के अंदर 4 भाई बैठे हुए ताश खेल रहे हैं और साथ में एक चाय पी रहे हैं. In India, you go out right now, I can assure you, you will find people don't value time in India, and that is why home delivery startups are a big bust in India. You do not have to copy. Do you know these startups? Do you like all these things? You like Facebook, Dropbox, YouTube, Google and all. If you like all these things, you would not want to go to China because China has banned all these startups. Now what happens is that what happens in China, our entrepreneurs are amazing at copying. Our entrepreneurs have 2 great qualities. First, they copy very well. Second, they have an amazing quality of stocking. Whatever happens, आप इन्वेस्टर अगर हो, आपका फेसबुक, आपकी बेटी कहाँ पढ़ती है और आपकी बेटी किसके साथ, उसका बॉयफ्रेंड कौन है, सब कुछ पता होगा हमारे entrepreneurs, including me. So we have these 2 amazing qualities of Indian entrepreneurs. Now what happens in China is, he is the Chinese premier, and Mark Zuckerberg, हाथ पांव जोड़ने के बाद, irrespective of the fact that Priscilla Chan is a Chinese, he was not able to get an appointment with the Chinese premier. And what happens in India is this. हमारे प्रधानमंत्री मेलो पार्क जाते हैं और उनके ऑफिस में उनको ऐसी तेज जादू की झप्पी देते हैं. So the thing is, economies are different. You cannot copy models. You cannot make a Facebook out of India because there exists a Facebook which is heavily supported by the government. That is the reason Alibaba does not win only because of its product. It wins because of the barrier of entry which the Chinese government poses on Amazon, to the extent that Amazon is one of the sellers on Alibaba. And this happens in India. हमारा एक अच्छा startup called Flipkart gets devaluated by 50% because of Amazon coming in. That does not mean that Amazon should not come in. But the thing is that how do we manage? The government needs to do some sort of an immunity. So I am scared right now. WeWork, which is
just move your hand a bit.
is coming to India. I'm scared. The moment they come, they plunge in $500 million, and people like us who have just placed 10 or 7 CR, what would we do? But there is an answer to that, which I learned. One of my investors, he told that you're just talking bullshit. What you are saying is absolutely crap. I have a company called Goki. Now they make a thing called these smart bands. Fitbit had a marketing budget of 100 CR. Goki had a marketing budget of 3.5 CR. And now also Goki has 38% of the market share and Fitbit has only 6%. The reason was that you have to change the model. Fitbit, instead of selling the hardware, Indians do not pay for hardware. They pay for a service. Indians do not like paying for software and hardware. They like paying for a service. And he changed the entire concept where he sells the band free of cost, and on top of that, the services he charges as monthly revenue. Fifth, clarity is critical. Almost everyone, including me, before going to YC, had this thing. No one is clear about what we are building. That is the most important thing. Make sure you have whiteboard questions with you, what you are doing, why you are doing, and every single thing mapped out before you enter into a market. Sixth one, nowadays the biggest barrier to entry is not the patent or the intellectual property which you have. The biggest barrier to entry is design. If you see all the best products in the world, one thing is common, and that is their design. Just make sure that you do not compromise on industrial design or the UI, the UX. They are the most important assets which your company will have. And seven, the most important asset for a great unicorn startup is something called the culture. You have to make sure that the culture of your company is great. So I follow these 13 principles. I don't know whether they help you or not. The best ones which I like are no politics in your company. It has to be a mission, not a job. You have to have amazing sense of intolerance for mediocrity and all these points. The last part of it, something we called the founders, the great founders mindset. There are 4 key things which I learned by studying a lot of founders. I met a lot of founders in the valley, in India and all that. I realized 4 common things were there in all the great founders. The first one being, in 1970s there was this concept called IQ, intelligence quotient. They used to judge you by your IQ, कि नहीं आपका IQ कितना अच्छा है. 2000s के अंदर एक नया कॉन्सेप्ट आया EQ, कि आप कितने लोगों से अच्छे से बात कर पाते हैं and how many people can respect you. But the best thing about all the great founders in the world is something called TQ. Emotional quotient होने पे लोग आपसे अच्छे से बात तो करेंगे, लेकिन अगर trust quotient होगा, they will open their lockers for you and give you the capital. Having life is not a sprint, a 10-second sprint. It's a lifelong marathon. You have to build trust with people and make sure you do not cheat them. So the first quality amongst great founders was trust quotient. The second quality was frugality. They were frugal about both their time and their money. Time is more important than money. Always remember that. The third one was ethics. People think that by cheating they can actually growth hack. There's this new term called growth hacking. But actually the most important thing is how much trust, how much ethics you can have, and how much helpful you are to your fellow counterparts. And the last one, the fourth one is sustainable growth is important. We have seen time and again great startups fail because of hyper valuated structures. The idea is make sure, even if you are not funded, just make sure that just be in there, launch a great product. Somehow, someday, great things are going to happen. And one of my investors, Vijay Shekhar of Paytm, after 19 years of struggle, Paytm is now a hit. So he says that people think I'm an overnight success. So it has to be a long, long journey. You have to just be passionate about the product. And the last thing, if I have just one more minute, this is a research which I personally love doing was, what was common? So I did a study. So this study was done in America. I just contemplated this study. They did a study of 100 richest people in the world. I thought that 73 of these richest people would have got their money from their parents. But to the irony, 73 were self-made and only 27 got their money from their parents. Out of these 73, 18 had no college degrees and 36 were children of poor parents. And the rest were either from a poor parent background, or again they did not have a college degree. Now again, one thing is very sure, that college degree has nothing to do with your success. It definitely has nothing. I have done my schooling from BPS Mathura Road, one of the suckiest schools in the world, with all due respect. They could not judge that I was not supposed to be a doctor. I was supposed to become an economist. I am great at that economics, but my principal was unable to tell at that early point of time that I was not supposed to be a doctor. Our education system sucks big time. Now, once our education system so education has nothing to do with success. So I've come with this philosophy called the Alchemist. Ravi sir, I was just using his brand name actually. So Alchemist is an acronym for success. These points have been common amongst all the successful. I did a study of 1,000 CEOs, and we found one thing common amongst them, and that was Alchemist. A stands for action, irrespective of the fear of failure. A lot of people I meet, they say that, okay, we'll do this, we'll do that. They have a lot of words, they do not act. Start acting somewhere. Somewhere, if you have an idea, if you have to think that, okay, should I quit my job or not? At least quit your job. Then on the way, you will figure it out. You have to act somewhere. L stands for learner. All these people have been learners. They have an amazing sense of listening to other people. C stands for confidence. They were humble, but at the same time, there has to be a basic sense of confidence that I will be able to nail it out. A stands for hustling and being humble. E stands for enthusiasm and optimism. So all these people at some point of their time in their college days were like children actually. They had this tendency, they were always bubbling out with ideas and very, very positive. A negative mind can never, ever achieve success. All of them were majestic dreamers. They did not want this or that. They had this thing कि Amazon launch करना है तो पहले books से चालू करेंगे. We'll see if it is working or not, and then we will rule the world. All of them were innovators. If you want to be successful in life, there are three ways. One, either be the best, be different, or be the first. All of these involve innovation. Significant innovation is required in this competitive era. S stands for strategic thinkers. Again, the compass is very important. You have to take a day off. You have to go out on a holiday and think about your life. Is this the life which you want? Because life is the biggest asset which we all have. It is the biggest gift which God has given it to us. We should not be just thrifting it. We should be spending it in the most amazing sense as we can. And last, T stands for tinkering. So I took a guest lecture at Harvard University, and so I was the youngest teacher over there, and there was this. By the way, my telling you this thing is the fact that I have taken a lecture at Harvard University. So yes, so there I learned one topic called tinkering. So what is tinkering? Tinkering is called networking, which we say. What we do is, I'm just seeing a lot of people, they keep on exchanging business cards and all. Networking is not about exchanging business cards only. It's about getting into the heart of the person and getting trust of that person. To the extent, if you can somehow get trust of 5 important people. So I asked Vijay that what made Paytm so successful. He said that only one thing, and that was getting the trust of Ravi Alusumedi of SAFE partners to invest in a time where no one was investing. So tinkering is very important, and always make sure tinker with people who are much above than you. Somehow get to their hearts and you will definitely succeed. Great, thank you so much.
Holding our hands into your personal life and sharing those experiences. And that is something which connects so well with everyone. Thank you.